Thank you for taking the time to connect with us today to learn what the IPC is doing to build your brand, strengthen its equity, and expand its reach across the U.S. and beyond. And of course, demonstrate how the IPC responds to crises such as a worldwide pandemic. 2020 has posed many challenges. We've had many mountains to climb. The year began with, first of all, the NASS forecast of acres being significantly higher than the United forecast. We communicated from the outset that the United forecast was much more accurate, and in time NASS revised their forecast to be closer based on finding some acres had been double counted. And I wish that would have been the end. But the next challenge was we were hit with an incredible cold front with several back-to-back days of frost. And that resulted in the next challenge, and that is, will we have a worldwide French fry famine? And I was even invited to be on the Dr. Oz show to alleviate concerns that we're going to run out of French fries. And of course, I wish that would have been the final challenge. But as everybody knows, we face the next huge challenge worldwide, and that is the COVID-19 pandemic. The impact of the pandemic has been significant. First of all, restaurants, schools, they all closed nationwide. 60% of our volume was immediately put at risk. Growers were right then preparing to plant, and processors then began to cut back contracts in the middle of planting season. The potato industry was seriously facing severe financial harm. On the other hand, retail demand for potatoes was outpacing supply. We were selling 50% more potatoes versus a year ago, back-to-back weeks. We were selling more potatoes during this first few weeks of pandemic than we usually do during the week preceding Thanksgiving. During this time, toilet paper, sanitizer, and potatoes were all out of stock. People were demanding the things that they need most, and it was pretty interesting to find out when a push comes to shove, potatoes are the take-home item for consumers to have at home. Now, during this time, the IPC made several immediate actions. Very important. Sometimes the word pivot is overused in today's world, but it is the perfect word for what we did. The IPC pivoted with our programs to adjust to what was happening. We worked very closely with our shippers here in Idaho, as well as our retail customers. Number one, we began immediately shifting food service cartons to empty retail shelves, creating instant displays. Retailers were not used to bringing big cartons in. We showed them how you could bring a 50-pound carton in, pop off the lid, and have instant displays. We were seeing some instances where consumers were actually taking the whole 50-pound carton and buying the whole thing, taking it home. Then we had to demonstrate how to create large waterfall displays, and these were materials we sent out, printed materials, to help educate them on how to create huge displays of potatoes to manage the huge demand that we were having. But then, as everybody knows, there were some YouTube videos that appeared with people coughing on produce. That raised concern among produce buyers to have produce back in bags. So what did the IPC do? We worked with our bag suppliers, with our shippers, to turn on the generators and produce 1,000-pound jumbo bin promotions. And we sold over 2,000 truckloads of these full-size bins of jumbo potatoes. And why I keep emphasizing jumbo potatoes is these are the food service potatoes. They would have had no home in food service. The IPC worked with our shippers and retailers to move them from food service into retail. And such customers as Costco and Sam's Club, which are typically not buying a lot of Idaho, have become very important customers even now today. On the food service side, it was very critical to work hand-to-hand, face-to-face with our operators and distributors. They were faced with furloughs, they were faced with people being laid off, and restaurants being closed, over 100,000 restaurants being closed. We worked directly, immediately with our operators to try to help them shift to a more delivery takeout mode. Those restaurants who were able to figure it out the quickest are the ones that have survived or have thrived during this pandemic. So we've worked very carefully in educating our operators how to make this conversion and how to use Idaho potatoes in making more economic and easy to use recipes for takeout. We launched several new ads to convey this message about delivery and takeout using Idaho potatoes and to make it very easy for our food service operators to be able to use those. On the consumer side, we launched a very impactful campaign to educate consumers how to store and how to use Idaho potatoes. Just think about it. Everybody was coming home. Kids were now no longer in school. College kids were returning home. All of a sudden, mom and dad have a full household of kids to feed. And so we were educating folks on how to use really easy to use recipes from little children to college-age kids to make Idaho potatoes part of their everyday meals. And I mean every day, all 3 meals. We doubled down on our social media, on our electronic newsletters that we go out, that we typically send out monthly. We were sending out Let's Eat at Home with Idaho potatoes. We were sending that out now weekly. We were accelerating our Tater Talk electronic newsletter. Website, we're educating consumers how to store, how to use. And then, of course, our social media just exploded in terms of communicating to consumers, again, how to store. They're going and buying 10, 20, in some cases 50 pounds of potatoes. We want to help them to understand how to store those potatoes and then how to use them up. We were very effective in doing that. I was involved in many different interviews during this time to really help calm the panic. And then on the government side, we were very anxiously involved in this. We worked with the National Potato Council and other states to secure financial support for potato growers. We were going to move the potatoes as best as we could from food service through retail. At the same time, we knew that wouldn't be enough. So we helped our federal government see the importance of including potatoes in the USDA bonus buy programs. We also got potatoes included in the trade mitigation program and also in the farm to family food box program. And then we helped potatoes get a more meaningful inclusion in the CFAP program. The result of all this, we're able to achieve $50 million were approved for all the categories of potatoes. We also were able to secure $22 million approved through the trade mitigation program. And then as far as the food box program, we helped get at least one company in Idaho approved for over $1 million to be included in the food box program. And there's been additional successes since that time. On the CFAP program, over $119 million has been committed nationally for potatoes, and you can see the numbers there by each category. We know for Idaho, a specialty crop received about $70 million, and we just recently learned of that $70 million, about $64 million of CFAP 1.0 came to potatoes here in Idaho. And now we're working on CFAP 2.0 still to come. We know it's a much easier program and growers are being able to participate in it much more easily, and there's more funds that will be available because of that. We want to especially recognize our 4 Idaho legislators for the heroic work they did in representing the Idaho potato industry during this crisis. We thank Senators Rush and Crapo and Congressman Simpson and Fulcher, as well as their staffs. Through all of this, we accelerated our communication with the industry to keep you informed of what was going on. We sent out a pulse almost every day, various information we want you to be aware of. But we knew it was critical that you stayed on top of what's happening in the food service side, the retail side, the consumer side, and the government side. We began to issue a weekly industry situation report. It came out every Friday. Then over a few months, we went to every other week. Most recently, we've gone to monthly. And I hope you've noticed how important it is, the communication that comes from the Commission keeps you informed of what's going on and also how you can help us as well. What's the net impact of all this? First of all, by our best estimates, at minimum, the Idaho Potato Commission programs helped move over 37 million pounds of food service potatoes through the retail channel. We also helped calm the panic waters through all the things we were doing on social media, radio interviews, other interviews that we were doing, and so forth. And importantly, we reinforced to consumers the value and essential nature of potatoes to their family meals. Potatoes are nutritious. They're one of the best food values you can get in the store. And the fact is, the whole family, from little children to returning college kids to mom and dad, love the taste of them. And they're versatile. You can eat them for every meal and not repeat the same recipe twice in a year. And most importantly, to the future of what was happening as a result of this pandemic, we helped reduce Idaho stocks dramatically. If you look at this chart, not only did absolute stocks reduce, but also as a percent of production, it's down. And these numbers are as of June, and it's even better now. So what could have been a total disaster, we have been able to clean up this crop and able to move it at profitable prices. And in fact, as a result of some of these programs we launched, prices rebounded after the initial shock on the food service loss. Again, 60% of your volume was about to be lost. How do you keep that from being a dramatic decline? We've also seen demand continue to be strong at the retail market, but also recovering more quickly than anybody anticipated at food service. And we're also seeing processors looking for more potatoes for French fries. We are seeing a recovery. And Idaho has clearly been reinforced as the industry leader that can navigate us through any of these types of crises that we are faced. In fact, if you look there to your screen, you'll see 2 ads that we begin to run in our produce magazines thanking those frontline heroes in the produce industry that have helped keep potatoes on their shelves. So, as a result of this pandemic and other trends that are happening, we're in a new world today. Food service will have to become more flexible with curbside, takeout, drive-through, and we're helping them do so. Consumers may demand more produce in bags. That's something that's very important to the Commission because we love putting that Grown in Idaho seal on those bags. The industry trend in recent years is going to smaller size bags of potatoes. Not anymore. Consumers are buying larger sizes, and partly because they want to go to the store less often. So when they do, they want to buy larger quantities. And we're seeing that trend continue. So more 5 and 10 pound bags need to be faced in the produce section. Consumers have learned to cook at home again. We think that trend will continue. We're also seeing public events, including sports, may have long-term implications. Maybe they won't be going to stadiums anytime soon, eating more at home. Are we prepared for more in-home usage? Retailers are also going to promote more online ordering from customers, which the customers will readily welcome. Then the IPC is going to respond and adjust to these programs to meet these changes, and I'll be sharing some of those examples with you today. So now, what I'd like to do is shift gears and introduce some of the programs that we did this past year, because with all this terrible challenges we were faced with, we still kept the marketing guns blazing. And here's just a brief highlight reel, we call a scissor reel, to share with some of those things that happened.
This is Jeopardy!
Let's go with ball for 1,200.
A huge potato is lowered to celebrate New Year's in this state capital. Karen.
That's Boise?
Yep.
George, tell us about good old Idaho russet potatoes.
All right. It's a 5-pound bag of healthy Idaho potatoes. Baked, mashed, or fried, always look for the seal to ensure they're genuine Idaho potatoes.
Yeah. Which needs the extra dollar? $4.19. Is she right? Yes! Only $2.29 for this whole bag of potatoes.
Could there really be a French fry shortage?
I hope not.
Well, we were sent this video from on the ground in Idaho just to give you an idea of how this all started. Take a look.
Any of the spots that aren't dug today will probably not be harvested at all.
Well, let's get the fry facts out before we stress out over this. Joining us now with the answers is the president of the Idaho Potato Commission, Frank Muir. He won't mind me telling you that he has eyes everywhere. You see what I'm doing there, Frank?
Everyone knows that Idaho is the #1 producer of potatoes in America. In early October, we got hit with 3 days of really intense frost. Fortunately, our farmers worked overtime. As you saw from the video, they worked together. They worked through the night to get as much of our harvest into storage as possible. We were able to secure 85%, roughly 85% of our harvest into our storage sheds. It represents about 13 billion pounds of these potatoes.
Well, you have given me hope. I feel much better about our French fry shortage. Thank you very much, Frank. Good luck to you.
So Cranny Farms in Oak Lee, Idaho, decided to give away their unsold crop of over 2 million potatoes. And joining us is Ryan. You know, we see the stories on the news of so many farmers faced with the abundance of crop. So how did this impact you, and how did you come to make this decision to give them away?
As food service is shut down across the United States,
We've seen that demand pretty much dry up and go away.
I'm from the Garden State, and we grow a lot of things in New Jersey. But the one thing we love in the Garden State that's not grown in New Jersey is an Idaho potato.
That was when I ruled the world.
We're hanging out with our favorite Idaho potatoes. Spuddy Buddy. What's up, Spuddy Buddy? Hey man, let's high five.
In behalf of Idaho Grower Shipper Association, we're donating, Buddy, give you an announcement, 40,000 pounds of Idaho's famous potatoes. That's enough potatoes to fill that Trinity trailer right there.
But Idaho potatoes are a worldwide brand that could have an impression on everyone, even mega celebrities like Kobe Bryant.
I did a commercial for the Idaho Potato Commission, and it was a commercial about the potato truck getting lost, and he'd always come up to me and tease me and say, "Did you find the truck yet?"
I used that story in our commission meeting to explain the value of keeping the truck on the road. Kobe was celebrated as a hero in keeping the truck. That'll always be one of my favorite memories about the big Idaho potato truck.
The Chuckers will be going by their original name, the Idaho Falls Russets. They will be wearing jerseys in the style of those worn by the original team from 1939.
Idaho russet potatoes. Look for the grown in Idaho symbol. IdahoPotato.com, great recipes.
The spuds are special too.
Typical of an Idaho potato. We fry it to get the crispiness on the outside because you want that crunch.
Jersey Devil fries. Now tell me about the French fries.
Idaho potato. Start off with some Idaho potatoes.
Idaho potato.
Beautiful. I'd like to introduce you to Candace.
Hey.
What is the first step to make this
potato? Let me tell you the first step, okay? We have to start with a big 40-pounder. Look at her. She's just an Idaho potato. You love Idaho. We all love Idaho. Go on, eat that baked potato.
Here to show us how to create a tasty mashed potato using a secret ingredient is Idaho Potato Commission President and CEO Frank Muir.
Try to cut them into about 1-inch cubes, okay? Fill up your pot up to just a hand level above the highest potato, and you want to start with cool water.
So you got the perfect texture, you're gonna mash, but you have a special ingredient too.
Yes.
In addition to all these amazing tips that makes the perfect mashed potato.
Chobani's plain yogurt.
Yogurt?
Greek yogurt.
No way.
And what that's going to do is give you a little bit of extra tang.
And then
you get,
diving in.
You get to taste it and tell us what you think.
You know what I think, Frank? I think it's the perfect mashed potato.
Now I'd like to share some of the exciting marketing programs we have for the 2021 crop year. Of course, at the very foundation of all of our marketing programs is our TV advertising. And this year is no different. In fact, we have produced a new commercial called Side Dish that focuses on appetite appeal. It really demonstrates that Idaho potatoes is much more than a side dish. And if there is ever a time we need comfort food, it's right now. And here's the commercial.
Hello, I'm an Idaho potato farmer. You know, a lot of folks think of a potato, even an Idaho potato, as a side dish. But does this look like a side dish to you? Or this? Or these? Does a side dish have a dog like this? Or a truck like this? Or a good-looking, charismatic spokes farmer like me? I think we both know the answer to that. Always look for the grown in Idaho seal. Side dish?
Now, this ad, side dish, actually did run just briefly last year at the tail end of our campaign, but it was noticed and it was applauded. An independent source was quoted as saying this: Idaho Potatoes are among brands whose product-focused ads are resonating with consumers. Idaho Potatoes side dish ad scored the highest on product-related metrics out of the top 10 ads, which included M&Ms, by the way, and uses food close-ups to showcase how potatoes can be a main entree, an effective way to emotionally connect with consumers right now. Now, I use that expression all the time. My objective always with advertising is to emotionally connect with my target audience. So to have an independent reviewer see that in our commercials is music to my ears. So here's when our campaign is going to begin airing. You'll see there's a little gap at the beginning. Well, that's because there's a national political campaign, an election going on that will finish up right before our national advertising campaign will begin. You'll see we'll have 7 weeks, the red lines. Those are the 7 national weeks we'll be airing. Here's the programming that we're going to be buying advertising on: our network buys, our syndicated buys, and also on streaming, such as Hulu and Sling. But as I indicated earlier, there's new changes taking place that have been accelerated because of the pandemic. So new this year, we're now going to be advertising and promoting on digital formats. First of all, we're going to be advertising on allrecipes.com. It's the #1 recipe site with over 29 million views per month with just women 25 to 45, which is a sweet spot of our target audience. We're also going to be advertising on online grocery shopping. We're going to be testing advertising on Walmart and Kroger's online shopping, so that when consumers, which they've gone from single digit to 30% consumers, are now online ordering and then driving in and having their trunk popped open and the groceries dropped in the back, 30% of Americans are doing that now. We want to make sure when they're online and they're thinking about potatoes, they see Idaho Potatoes and they select Idaho, no substitution. Now, college football. Nobody really knew, is college football going to happen? Is the NFL going to be happening? But particularly concerns about college football. Many of the conferences had canceled their schedule for the fall program. But importantly, our sponsored game, brought to you by famous Idaho Potatoes, was the much anticipated national broadcast of the Boise State versus BYU. BYU came in nationally ranked, highly anticipated. Millions of people watched this game. And what did they see during that game? They were not disappointed. They saw a lot of Idaho Potato messaging. This is what they're seeing every time a camera is panning anywhere in Albertson Stadium. And I've always say, isn't it great that the Idaho Potato Bowl game is played in a grocery store? And isn't it great that we have Idaho Potato logos everywhere the cameras look, when it's ESPN or Fox Sports 1, as Boise State is now tied in with? And don't we all want to see French fries dumped on the winning coach again? What an incredible image that was. And it was picked up not only during that game, but SportsCenter broadcasters brought it up and replayed it multiple times after the game. One of the public relations programs we successfully implemented last year was a partnership with Taysom Hill. We did some social media contests with autographed footballs and jerseys, and we had a lot of fun with that. Taysom just recently signed a 2-year, $22 million contract with the New Orleans Saints. He's becoming obviously very popular. We're in the process of seeking to finalize an appropriate partnership moving forward. What we're trying to change him from being known as the Swiss Army knife was being known that Taysom Hill is as versatile as an Idaho potato. And we're having some fun developing some videos that we put on social media to demonstrate how that is true. Now, we've spent a lot of time fighting low-carb diets. Well, it's time now to leverage low-carb diets and stop fighting them. We've actually identified how Idaho potatoes can be used with all of these different diets, such as paleo, Weight Watchers, and the list you can see. We have gone through our thousands of recipes, and we've identified with using a nutritionist on what recipes fit each diet. And so we're going to distribute this information to both consumers and to food nutrition reporters, and then highlight a monthly recipe on how this all works. But it makes it very easy for people to now start including Idaho potatoes in any diet that they're using. Then Feed. Feed is probably the most popular Instagram food program that people can go on. It's very colorful. It's just appetite appealing. And we're going to be doing some very creative promotion giveaway on Feed. And we know 1.7 million followers are really going to jump on this. Spotlight On. Idaho potatoes are going to be featured on PBS's educational series, Spotlight On. We're going to have a 2-minute vignette that's going to give an in-depth look about Idaho potatoes from farm to fork and everything in between. And we expect to generate between 3 to 5 million national impressions viewing this. I mentioned already, Idaho potatoes have become part of pop culture. Whether that means a potato that's dropping in front of Boise's state capitol and then appears as the answer to a game show on America's most popular game show, or you stay in nearly all year long sold out Idaho potato near Boise, or you see a Rod's jersey featuring fueled by Idaho potatoes in races across America, or on our potato bags featuring the iconic American Heart Association. There's nothing more American than the heart check mark. These are all the different ways in which Idaho potatoes has become part of American pop culture. We're making huge splashes in social media. We continue to expand our followers. Instagram, IPC followers are up 35%. Twitter, we're up 7%. Facebook, up 5%. All total, we already have over 100,000 people following us. This past year, we did some revamping on our YouTube and Pinterest, and we organized our videos, recipes, and pin boards to make it easier to access. This year, we're actually doing some ads on these programs, particularly on Facebook and Instagram. Just during June through September, we did just a little bit of boosting, and it generated over 500,000 impressions. Now, over 2 million people are on social media every day. We're finding that they love to see videos, they love to watch videos. So we're working with Dishworks to create more videos, more GIFs, to engage in people, and because we know that they enjoy Idaho potato videos. And we have some pretty impressive ones, and some that have over 12 million views, and we expect to have some even more exciting ones coming in the near future. And you may not know this, but there are all sorts of potato holidays. Here's just some of the ways in which we leverage these holidays. And in fact, the Idaho Potato Commission was instrumental in getting National Mashed Idaho Potato Day named. It happens to be the same day as Thanksgiving. That's the number one use of mashed potatoes is on Thanksgiving. It's now a national holiday named National Mashed Idaho Potato Day. But we're leveraging all of the other potato holidays. And so you'll see IPC almost every week on social media celebrating a potato day. We'll also continue to promote in social media all the different things that we're doing from a marketing standpoint. I won't go through the list. You can see it on your screen. But it includes things like Thank a Farmer, where we're featuring our farmers regularly, and people love to see the stories behind each of the family farms and your history and what's going on. But there's all sorts of other things we're promoting, and we'll continue to do this going into the new year. The IPC website, which is idahopotato.com, has continued to see growth. This past year, we had 1.3 million visitors. That's a 26% growth over a year ago. Our page views are at nearly 2.2 million, and we've had a 29% increase in new users since last year. Our sessions has also increased 26%. That means they're staying on our website longer than last year. We got more people coming, more new users, they're staying longer, and organic search is 79% of all of our traffic, which means when it comes to potatoes, the number one website folks are coming to is idahopotato.com. So as we come to the conclusion, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for your support. And I am sure you have many questions, and we welcome those questions. You have our phone number, you have our email address. Please call us, please email us, and we'll get back to you with answers and with responses. Again, we wish you all the best. We look forward to visiting with you again soon. Thank you. Have a great day.